Hi, I'm Vanessa Vicaria, aka The Math Guru, and you're listening to Math Therapy, a podcast that helps guests work through their math traumas one problem at a time. Whether you think you're a math person or not, you're about to find out that math people don't actually exist. But the scars that math class left on many of us definitely do. And don't worry, no calculators or actual math were involved in the making of this podcast. What's up, and welcome to this week's episode of Math Therapy. So I'm super excited because today we're talking to one of our tutors here at The Math Guru, Zainab Husain. And Zainab is so freaking cool. You guys are gonna love her. She's entering her final year at Ryerson University, where she studies math and economics. And the whole time she's been tutoring here at The Math Guru to gain the experience she needs to pursue her dream of becoming a math teacher. So guys, I have to tell you, Zainab is one of those tutors that transforms you. Seriously, I feel like she has a superpower, which is that she can make anyone feel like a math superstar. I've seen it firsthand, and it makes me almost cry every single time a kid is like, oh my God, I spent the year crying in math class and then I met Zainab. Well, you guys are in for a treat because today you get to hear about how she legit went from crying her eyes out every day in math class to wanting to be the best math teacher ever. Drum roll, please. No one's giving me a drum roll, so let's do it anyway. Welcome, Zainab.
Thanks, V. Nice to be here.
I actually really didn't know you wanted to be a math teacher.
Really? You had no idea?
No.
Wow, that's crazy.
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah. Actually, I realized I wanted to be a math teacher after I started working here.
Oh my God.
So this job made me, oh my God, this is what I want to do.
Really?
Yeah. Because I was confused as heck. I was like, I had no idea what I want to do at all.
Oh my God. Okay, well, let's backtrack. And I'm going to just ask you, do you feel? Do you like math?
I love math. It's literally my favorite thing in the world. After my cat, but
So tell me, let's go back into little Zainab history. What was your childhood experience with math? Did you always like it? Give me the spill the tea.
So the first time I was ever really experienced or had an experience with math or was introduced to math was in grade 1. I had switched schools and it was the beginning of the school year, so I was coming into school a little late. And on the first day of school, this was actually grade 1. So the first day of school, I walked into class and there was a math test, and I was like, I have no idea what math is. I had never learned it. I was in grade 1. Kindergarten did not teach me any math. So I was like, okay, what is this? What is happening? What is this paper with this 2 and this cross sign and a 2? What does that mean? I don't know. I thought it was 2T2. I was like, what does that mean? So I started crying. I literally just started crying during the test. I was like, hi. So I just went up to the teacher. I was like, it's my first day. I don't know what this means. What are you asking me? What is this 2 cross sign 2? And she was like, okay, show me 2 fingers. And I was like, cool. And then she was like, show me another 2 fingers on the other hand. I was like, okay, cool. She's like, how many fingers do you have up? I'm like, 4. And she's like, exactly. And I'm like, no freaking way. No way. And that was the coolest thing ever. I was like, wow. And she was like, that's what that plus sign means. And then she explained to me subtraction the same way. She was like, put up 2, take those 2 away. How many do you have? 0. It's like, whoa, that's so cool. God. So from that moment, I was like, wow, this is actually really cool. I want to know what this is. What is more of this? So then I went home that day, and I'm pretty sure I thought I had made up the word mathematician. I never heard that word in my life, but I had said it to my mom. I was like, Mom, I want to be a mathematician. She was just confused as heck. She was like, okay, cool. And yeah, so that was me having my first experience with math.
Okay, amazing. And so from that moment on, were you just curious about math? Were there any points along your little educational path where you reconsidered wanting to be a mathematician?
100%. So I always really liked math. I was always good at it. It was always the subject I was strongest in. I just got it right away. But then grade 9 came, and I had probably a really not good teacher in grade 9, let me tell you that. She was a grade 12 teacher who was teaching us like we were in grade 12, as if we knew everything. So I was like, okay, cool. She would come to class and just give homework and expect us to know how to do it. She would not teach a single lesson. And I was like, oh, this is what math is in high school. I don't want to do it because no one's teaching me anything and I don't know what's going on, what is happening. So I was just really, really confused all of grade 9. I got like a 60 something in grade 9 math, and that was the lowest mark ever I've gotten in math. And I was just like, wow, me? I got 60 in math? You're kidding me. And I started crying. I cried to my mom. I was like, Mom, I can't believe this. Math is my favorite subject. And I'm failing it now, and I can't be a mathematician ever again. And she was like, no, you're going to go to tutoring, and you're going to get this mark back up. So I went to tutoring. I got like an 80 in grade 9 math. And I was like, wow. And I was like, oh, I can do it. Maybe it's just the teacher. Maybe it's not me. So it was just that I hated it because the teacher was making me
Okay, so
fail
this is really interesting. So when this was happening, before you saw the tutor and you were like, oh my God, I'm getting a 60, did you how did that affect like the way you viewed yourself? Like, did you think it was you?
I did think it was me, like 100%, because I was like, I've never done this badly. And like, I thought it was that I was like, okay, like maybe high school is too hard for me or something like that. I just let it get to me too much. I was like, I can't do this. And that's why I said to my mom, I'm like, Mom, like when I get to grade 12, because in grade 12 you don't have to take math, right? It's an option. I was like, Mom, when I'm in grade 12, I'm not taking math. And she was like, you're in grade 9, you're not deciding that right now. And I was like, no, but seriously, if this is how it's going to go, I can't take it. Right? So it was just a self-doubt thing. I was like, oh, if this is like in like the first year of high school, it's going to be like this forever because I'm stupid kind of thing.
Okay, and how did your mind change after you had a tutor and you got an 80?
So I started to believe in myself more because I was like, I would tell my teacher would like make us do some questions. Like again, we would just come to class and be like, do this question on the board, and it'd be like, but you didn't teach us anything, right? So it was like, what the heck are we doing? So it was more about like one day she was calling me out to be like, oh, like, because I was talking in class and she was like, okay, go do this question. And I was like, and at no point the whole year she had done that. And if she had done it at any time before I had my tutor, I would have been confused as heck. Right? But it was after I got my tutor and I was like, you know what, let's give this a try. So I did it. And she told me the answer was wrong. And I was so confident in myself because it was almost identical to the question my tutor showed me. So I was like, no, it's not wrong. And I felt confident in myself for the first time answering that question. I was like, it's not wrong. Trust me. And she was like,
was it wrong?
No, it wasn't wrong. She was telling me it was wrong. Halfway through lecturing me about how it was wrong, she was like, oh, wait, never mind, you got it right. And I was like, cool. That was like, oh, okay, I'm not stupid. I am actually very good at math. Some people just mess up and try to make you feel bad about it.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay, so you had actually mentioned earlier that being thinking you were good at math from such a young age made you feel like you could do anything.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a bit about that? Like, what do you mean?
So it's more about like the fact that math is so like omnipresent and so ubiquitous, just everywhere, right? Everything has math as a building block, right? Physics is math. Physics is the world, right? So math is the world. So it's like if you can do math, you can apply that to any aspect of life. You can apply it to anywhere. You can apply it to in any field of work. So that's what I meant by I can do anything because I can do math.
So why do you think that? Why do you think people who can do, who are really good with words, let's say, or, really good at art, why do you think they don't have that same feeling? I've never met somebody, it's very strange. I guess where I'm getting is, and we're going to get into all the students you've taught before, but I find when people are bad at math, or they see themselves as bad at math, they think they're stupid. Just like you just actually said, right? You were saying, when you were doing bad at math, you were like, I'm just stupid. You didn't say to yourself, oh, I'm bad at math, or I'm bad at this particular math concept. All of a sudden, you generalized it to, I'm stupid. Yeah. Whereas now you're saying because you're good at math, you're smart, generally, at everything. So why do you think that's so specific to math? Why don't you think it's the same with other subjects?
It's because math is known to be one of the harder subjects, right? So if you feel like you're bad at a hard subject, you must be stupid, right? That's not true. It's just that's not your forte, right? But a lot of people, they don't realize that, especially when that are younger age. They don't realize, oh, hey, just because I'm not good at this one thing, but I am good at this other thing, that's totally fine. But because younger people don't have the, oh, what am I good at? What am I good at? They don't know that yet. The second they get the, oh, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, you
okay.
can
The second, the second you fuck up on something that's like really complicated and really advanced, because math is really complicated and advanced. You think because you can't tackle the advanced problem that you must be an idiot. That's what it is. It's that you feel like you can't do something hard, so you must be stupid.
So, do you think math is really complicated, actually? I'm actually curious. Because I get asked this question a lot. People are always like, why is math the thing people struggle with? Why is there so much emotional attachment to it? Why is math so hard for people? And I'm actually curious to know your question. Like, is math hard? Like, is grade 6 math hard?
The only way I can answer that, I can't give you a definitive answer. The reason is, it's relative. When you are in grade 6 and it's brand new to you, of course it's hard. Anything brand new to you, you're just like, I just learned this. You don't grasp something like right away. Some people do, which is great. Some people don't, and that's okay, right? But when something is new, it's hard. But when you've been, like, for me, I'm in university now and I study like high level math, like university level math. So obviously to me, I'm going to say grade 6 math is easy. But if I was in grade 6, I would not say that. I wouldn't be like, oh, this is easy. Like, it's all relative. It's all about where you are and in life, where you are in your math career, and what point of your math career you're talking about. If you're in grade 8 and you're gonna say grade 6 math is easy. If you're in grade 8, you're gonna say grade 8 math is not easy.
But so people say, and like a lot of kids will say that, like, you know, whatever level they're at, most kids that I talk to that don't like math, which is most kids, will say it's really hard.
Yeah, but if you, it's again.
Do you think it's hard just because it's something new?
I think it's hard because something new. Because if I've asked this to many of my students, they'll be like, oh my god, grade 12 is so hard. Like, while they're in grade 12, right? And they're doing like these asymptotes and math on all these like rational functions in the end stuff. And then I've actually asked a couple of my students, and I'm like, what do you think of grade 9 math now? They're like, oh my god, that's so easy. Y equals mx plus b, I totally got it. So that's what I mean, it's all relative. Like, you'll find math hard that year, but anything previous, you'll be like, oh, because you've learned something harder. So when you've learned something harder, you think something easier is, in fact, easy.
So why do you think, though, math gets this, like, let's go back to the fact that you were saying when people feel inherently stupid or smart, it has to do with the fact that math is known as a hard subject. So if you do well in a hard subject, you feel really powerful. And if you do poorly in a hard subject, you feel like a failure.
Yeah.
But why is math harder than, like, history or geography or English? Like, why is that known as a harder subject?
Actually, to me, history is a hard subject.
Right.
And, like, anything to do with words is a hard subject. English is a hard subject for me, right? So it just depends person to person, right? If you're stronger in something else, some people are writers, right? Some people like words. Some people are visual learners. Some people are auditory learners, right? Math is a very, like, not hands-on, but you gotta practice at it kind of thing, right? Some people are naturally good at writing. It kind of just flows with them, right? You don't really have to, some people don't really have to practice that, and it just kind of they can write a beautiful essay within like 2 hours or something, right? I can't write a beautiful essay. Give me a year and I will never be able to do that. Like, that's not happening, right? So it's more about, like, how do I want to word this? I lost my train of thought.
No, but it is really, I do think it's like a really interesting question, and really I'm just curious what you think generally, because I think it's when people are like, well, math is hard, I'm always like, I mean, if you were taught math properly and learned it, I think one thing is math is cumulative.
Yes.
Right? So it's easy to miss a step with math and be screwed on the next step.
Yes.
But if you technically think about it, if you were taught everything from the very beginning with a very good teacher and you practiced, would it really be that hard?
I don't think so because
forget going to university and doing complex stuff. I mean, that's the same in any subject.
Yeah.
But I'm just talking about general elementary and high school math. How hard is it really?
It's not. It's like, it honestly depends on how you're being taught it and who is teaching it to you.
Right, like you said in grade 9, it was super hard and you hated it.
Yeah.
When literally the year before you were on top of the world and thought you were great, and that all had to do with the teacher.
Exactly, 100%. And it's the same thing with my students as well. It's like, they'll come in and be like, why do you make this seem so easy? Why does my teacher just not explain it like this?
Right.
So it is a matter of explanation. I don't think math is hard, well, because I'm a math major, but I also don't think it's hard if you're explaining it correctly.
Right.
You know, right? Like, if you have someone explaining something to you properly with, like, patience and understanding, and not like just being like, hey, just know this or whatever. And they need to explain to you the reasoning behind why you need to know this, or the reasoning behind why what's happening is happening, right?
Right.
A lot of teachers don't do that, right? A lot of my students, they understand the math, and they find it easier once I explain the theory behind it to them. They're like, why do I do this? And I'm like, okay, let me tell you why you do this. And they're like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Right.
And then they start applying it. It's all about, like, a lot of people need things that they can apply things to. A lot of people think that math is not applicable, even though it is, right? So that's also a reason people, I guess, find it quote unquote hard.
Right, because it's just so abstract and random.
Exactly, so abstract. But like stuff like history, you can apply it a little more, right? You can apply like science a little more and stuff, right? So people find those generally a little easier. Like science is still a little hard, but like people would do some of my students are super amazing in bio, but like not very good in math at all.
Right.
And I'm the complete opposite. I got like a 49 in bio when I was in high school, right? So it's like, it's all about like how you learn. People want to apply things, right? If you can't see if you can't see yourself applying this, you're gonna find it like it's useless. It's more about you find it useless, and then you're like, this is useless, and I can't do it, and it's hard.
And what's the point?
Right, exactly. What's the point?
Okay, so first, before we start talking about your students, because I really want to hear about like what you're seeing in your students and what strategies you use, but I wanted to just ask you, do you think being good at math and kind of being confident with your math ability most of your life has affected your confidence at all? Like as a person, like forget math, like just the way you approach life, do you think it plays a role or like not really?
Definitely.
Tell me how.
Definitely. I feel like because math is so abstract, right? It's I feel like you need to have like very developed thinking because like of like math, right? So it's like I feel like I can think on a I don't want to say a higher level, but I want to say a different level than most people, right? Or like just people who just don't like math. Or I can see things in multiple ways. Because with math, there's not just one right solution, right? Maybe there's one right answer, but there's multiple ways to get to that answer, right? So there's multiple solutions. So I feel like it has made me better with like problem solving and like seeing multiple angles and like being able to just take a step back and like see things from like all different angles and see stuff from an outside perspective, right? So it's like built up my confidence in that way, where I feel like I'm a little more like able to like just see things for, I don't know how to say it. Like
No, that makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm able to see them.
You kind of have like a really unique and like larger perspective.
Exactly. And because I know that, it gives me like this boost of, it's more of like a leadership thing, right? It's like, I feel like because I can see things in like multiple ways, I feel like I should take control of this situation, or I should be the leader over here because I see multiple routes that we could take. Right? So that's what I mean. Like it's like a confidence boost in like a leadership kind of way. It like puts you in that leadership role because you're like, I feel like because your thinking is more developed, you would want a person with a higher level of thinking to be the leader. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, this is like actually so fascinating because you obviously know this about me, but I give tons of talks about encouraging women to see themselves as mathematicians, and I've never actually thought about it that way before, but I mean, most women I meet are not confident with math. And I don't know what I'm forming this thought as I'm saying it, but we're really in a point in time where we're trying to encourage women to feel confident in leadership roles. And I've never thought of math as perhaps that connecting force. Like I always say, being good at math makes you more confident simply because believing you're bad at something, whether it's math or anything else, makes you less confident, and that sucks, right? Yeah. But that's a really, really interesting way to look at it, that math gives you the confidence to be a leader because you feel like you have multiple ways of solving a problem and you can handle adversity. That's really fucking cool.
Thanks, girl.
Okay, why don't we talk about the students you tutor? So tell me how they see themselves in terms of like the spectrum of math ability and confidence.
So a lot of my students are not confident with math, and it's because, but the thing is, like, a lot of my students, they get the confidence when I help them. Because, like I said, my students are like, they're like, why do you explain it so much better? Like, why do you make it seem so much easier, right? So I think a lot of my students come to me going like, having like a definitive like, okay, I can't do this is not for me. But what I see is like once I start explaining it, they start being more open-minded about it. Not like, yeah, definitely a math person, or yeah, love math or something. They're more open to it. They're like, oh, it's not that bad. You know, it's more about that. It's not like, oh, I like this or I don't like that. It's like, oh, it's not as bad as I thought it was. Like, it's not as hard as I thought it was. Because it's just, like I said, you just need someone to explain it to you properly, and you're just like, yeah, I get it.
Have you had any, like, you know, transformative stories about students who came in here thinking they weren't math people? I'm using air quotes because, you know, I hate the term math people. And who left with, like, thinking that was bullshit and being like, oh my God, I'm perfectly capable of doing math?
Not so much as they became, like, quote-unquote math people or something like that. They became more confident in themselves, right? And they became more they just started believing in themselves more, right? And more like, hey, like, maybe this is for me, or kind of thing, right? It's more like I've seen a student go from like a 50% or like a 48 to like a 75.
Right.
Or like an 80.
And how much do you think attitude has to do with that?
Oh, 100%. All of it is attitude. All of it. If you have no desire to learn, if you have no desire to get better, if you have no desire to actually improve in any way, what are you doing it for? Right? It's all attitude.
So, like, let's talk a bit about, you know, like, we have a lot of students here, and, like, you know, this is happening a lot now, where so many young people have anxiety and have a lack of confidence and self-worth, and a lot of it is tied to education.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on that? Do you have any students that, like, have anxiety? Like, how have you seen that play out in math?
I have some students that have, like, dealt with quite a bit of anxiety. Like, I actually had a student that she started crying, like, one time, like, while we were doing, like, some math homework, and it's because her exam was the next day, right? And she was getting everything was totally fine, right? Just one question, she blanked on it, and she started crying, and I was like, okay, like, it's just one question. So
how do you deal with that?
Like, I just tell her, I was like, I just state what has already happened. I'm like, we literally just did 20 questions, you got them all right, and you got one question wrong. What is wrong with that? And then she's like, you know what, you're right. Like, it's not that bad, right?
Yeah.
It's like, just take a step back. Just like, not everyone knows everything, right? So not everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, 100%, got it right away, right? Like, people get stuff wrong. You don't let that get to you, right? She had a lot of anxiety. Like, it was even in, like, her private notes. It's like she gets anxious if she gets a question wrong, right? And, like, I saw that play out in front of me. She just started crying. And I was like, why are you getting anxious about this? Like, you got 20 out of 21 right. Like, that's...
Do you feel like the expectations on kids are unrealistically high? Like, do you feel like that contributes at all to the anxiety around math, or...
Expectations coming from who, though? Like, parents or, like, school? Or what do you mean?
Yeah, I don't know even. I mean, maybe kids, even their expectations of themselves, because I find a lot of the anxiety around math has to do with grades.
It does. 100%. It's...
Because, like, there's nothing wrong with getting a 75 in math.
100%. There's...
Like, that means you know three-quarters of the stuff.
Yeah, my students, like, they'll come and be like, oh, I didn't do good. I got a 75. And I'm like, what? Like, that's pretty good. Like, and it's just, these kids, they don't realize that you need progress over perfection.
So in terms of students feeling anxious, I mean, I know here we see a lot of students who literally come to us, not even because they're bad at math. We have a lot of students who come who are getting 90s, but they are anxious about math. Can you, like, what is that about?
I think it's more about, like, I know exactly what you're talking about. I have one student, she gets like not high 90s on all her tests, but every time she comes in, she's just freaking out to me. And I'm just like,
why?
That's one thing I still haven't been able to grasp. We can talk about it. We could talk about why. Like, we just brainstorm right now.
Wow.
It's a question that even I've asked myself.
Well, I have a lot of theories.
Yeah?
My first question I would ask, and I don't know how many boys you tutor, actually.
I have quite a few boys, actually.
So, okay. So, my first theory about this is that girls feel like they are not innately capable at math most of the time. So even if girls are getting 90s in math, they never feel like they know math. Whereas you can take a guy getting a way lower grade who is way more confident in his math.
I've seen that a lot. Like the same student that I was telling you about, it's like high 90s. Like she's a girl, right? And I actually recall her telling me about this one guy in her class who gets like the same marks as her, and she's like, but he's so much smarter.
Oh my god!
And I'm like, what do you mean he's so much
Have you asked her?
Who?
And what, the girl, what did she say?
I literally asked her, I was like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, he's
what did she
smarter than
say?
you got the exact same mark as him. And then she's like, no,
But he
like,
doesn't have to try. What did she say? What did she say?
She does. She was like, he doesn't try. Like he just gets like good grades. And then she started going. I don't know like how relevant this was, but she was like, and he's from like India, and like his parents are really strict and stuff, and like make him do a lot of work and everything. And I was like, I don't think that has anything to do with this. So like,
Zainab's Indian listeners.
And Pakistani, actually.
Sorry, she's Pakistani. Oh my god, we're gonna have to delete this now. That sounds horrible. I'm Indian. It's cool.
Great. But yeah, she was like, oh yeah, like he's Indian and he's like really smart. And I was like, first of all, race has nothing to do with how smart you can or cannot be. Okay, so like, don't just compare yourself. Be like, I'm a girl, so I'm automatically stupider. I'm white, so I'm automatically stupider. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Okay, but see, this is.
I was like, she's stereotyping herself.
I know.
I'm like, what is happening?
But see, this is it. So, I mean, we could make a whole podcast about this because I've done a lot of research about this because this is what my master's was about.
Yeah.
But boys are taught that they're inherently smart.
Yeah.
Girls are taught they have to work to be intelligent.
Yeah.
Which would be fine, except for some reason we don't equate hard work with intelligence. We equate it with stupidity and having to work to be smart. But it's so fucked because it's like you're not like popped out of the womb knowing what a derivative is. You obviously have to learn it at some point. You have to work.
100%.
So I find this a lot. Parents will often call me and say, well, my son, he's naturally good at math. He's getting a 90. My daughter's getting a 90, but she has to work for it. And I'm always like, what? So she is good. Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
So that's my first theory. That's my first theory. My second theory is just a totally different theory, which is maybe she's freaking, but it doesn't sound like it, but maybe she's just constantly freaking out because the expectation of grades is so high. Like she needs a fucking 96 to get into Queen's Commerce or whatever. Like that could be it. But I really think that boys do not freak out in the same way. Now, this is not to say that boys don't have anxiety over math because they do.
Yeah.
But I think that there is an inherent disadvantage because girls are taught from a young age that they need to work hard to get to where a guy already is.
God, I have this one story to tell you.
Tell me.
Grade 12 calculus teacher, we started learning vectors, and the day we started vectors, we finished calculus, she was like, okay, now we're going on to vectors. She was like, she's a woman, okay? She's a woman herself. And she was like, ladies, let me tell you, the guys are going to do better in this unit, because girls are known to not have as good as a spatial representation as men do. And then she went on about, and then she's like, and that's why girls can't read maps. And I was like,
no, she fucking didn't.
She said that. And first of all, I have the best internal GPS in my entire family. I know I can read a map. I 100% can. I got the highest mark in my calculus class for vectors. I got a higher mark than all the guys. So I'm like, what are you going on about? And it pissed me off that she said that. And it's funny because I think that actually motivated me to be like, you know what? I'm going to prove you wrong. Yeah. And I proved her wrong. But it was so like, I can't believe this is what you're starting off.
And just so everyone knows, Zainab is young, so this wasn't like in 1962.
Yeah, this was like
4 years ago.
4 years ago. 5 years ago. 5 years ago. Oh my god.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I mean, just to circle back, that whole idea of like, because I find that the most shocking is when people carry around this weight about math despite the fact that they're even good at math. It's one thing when someone's had like this traumatic experience and they're not good at math and whatever, and like they, don't really get it. That's one thing, and that's a whole other thing. But when you're good at math but still carry around this whole weird thing about not being good at it, that's just when things get really fucked up.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're getting to the point where I'm going to ask you the two questions we ask everyone on the podcast. So the first is, what would you say to someone who doesn't think they're a math person?
These words did not register in my head. What did you just say? No, we don't say words like this. And just like when my students come to me and go like, oh yeah, I have no idea what's going on. I'm like, well, that's going to change in like about 20 minutes. Just watch, okay? Like I just tell them like, whatever you're saying is just wrong right now. And I'm going to change that opinion very, very fast, okay? Like that is not happening today.
I wish you were my tutor. When I was failing math.
a lot of my friends have said that to me. They're like, "Wish you were my tutor in high school." And I was like, "I was with you in high school. I needed a tutor myself."
So what are some strategies you use if a kid comes to you and has kind of carried around this burden of feeling like they're not a math person or that they're never going to get it?
So I don't sugarcoat things. I go like, you know what? Like, if math's not your thing, it's not your thing. But that doesn't mean you're not a math person, right? You don't have to like, and I always give the example of you. I'm like, Vanessa failed math many times.
Okay, twice, not many.
Multiple times, so twice. Jenna's the one that failed 3 times. But yes, true. Like, you and Jenna both, I give examples of it, right? So it's like, okay, do you seriously like think you can't be a math person? And look at Vanessa, like,
oh god,
she failed math twice, and she runs the best tutoring studio in the GTA.
Zainab. Wow,
and
this is a lot of flattery.
Well, I also work there, I'm flattering myself as well. So yeah, but yeah, so it's like I just give them an example of it. I was like, look, like, you're in the same boat that these people are in.
Right.
Like, it's fine. And then I tell them, like, some of my students come to me in grade 9, they're like, oh my god, I'm getting a 75. I was like, yeah, I was getting a 60 in grade 9, so, and I'm here now.
Right.
So it's not even I, like, tell them, hey, like, no, you're a math person. It's just, I give them an example. I'm like, of someone who's exactly in your same boat and looked where they are now.
Right.
I'm like, you like, again, it's all relative. You're thinking it's really hard now. Just wait, in a couple of years you'll be like, so easy, I got this, 100%, right?
And what is one thing you would change about how math is taught?
I would change the fact that when some teachers, I've actually seen this happen, they will start teaching a topic and be like, oh, this is hard. So like,
oh yes,
I'm like, do not do that. You will freak them out. Every time I teach anything, even if it's the hardest thing in all of grade 12, I'll be like, don't worry, trust me, it's really easy, right? That will make them, oh, okay, yeah, like, I have an open mind, I can try it, right? Mm-hmm. But if you start off with, okay, this is really hard, so pay attention, it's like, that's gonna scare the living crap out of the kid,
right?
Okay? That is not how to start teaching any topic at all. You don't just start off with, hey, this is hard, so you're all screwed. Like, you don't say that. So that's one thing I would definitely change. The attitude that teachers present about a specific math thing.
Love it.
It's crazy.
That's me applauding. Okay, so now we're at the point in the podcast where I am going to give you your math therapy prescription. So I'm going to prescribe you something that you have to do. I mean, you don't really need math therapy. You give math therapy, which I think is really, really awesome. Mm-hmm. So what I am going to get you to do is write a letter. Okay? Mm-hmm. I want you to write a letter. It can be short because I know you don't love words or essays. Totally not. But a quick letter or like a text message you would write to someone who texted you, I'm not a math person. Okay?
Will do.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, perfect.
I'm going to save that as a template. If anyone ever does that, I will send that exactly to them.
Okay, amazing. So we're going to follow up with you to make sure you do your homework.
Great.
And do your prescription so that you can save all the people out there that need that math therapy.
Amazing.
This has been honestly really, really fascinating.
Woo.
And it was so, so great to have you.
Amazing.
Everyone, Zainab Husain, the math tutor / teacher who is going to save the world.
Woo!
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, B.
Unreal. Love this gal so much. I think it's so important to know that even though we don't have control over so many things, like you can't control who your teacher is or what society tells you about your own math ability, that we do have control over attitude, and that can actually make the biggest difference. Such an empowering episode. I hope you guys are feeling it. I'm sure you all want to see the results of Zainab's prescription because I bet like all of you, me included, need a kick in the ass in the form of a text message that reminds us that we are all math people. You can find that on our show notes at themathguru.ca/math therapy, where we put all additional episode info every single week. Remember to follow us on all social media at The Math Guru for more math therapy, where we post extra episode-related content every single week as well. And of course, a reminder that Math Therapy is hosted by me, Vanessa Vicaria, produced by Sabina Wex, and edited by David Kochberg. And of course, our theme song is Waves by Goodnight Sunrise, my band. And guys, if you know someone who needs math therapy or just needs to hear someone else getting math therapy, please, 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 please share this podcast and write me a review on iTunes. Those two things make such a big difference. I am so determined to change the culture surrounding math, and I really need your help. So spread the word. That's all for this week, and stay tuned for next week because, guys, I don't know how this happened so fast. It's actually going to be our season finale. As sad as I am so excited for you guys to hear next week's guest because he is one of my absolute favorite humans on the planet. Until then, see you next Thursday.